pressure looks good.
Following up. Roger, roll, Atlantic.
Water towers, fly!
Flight outside SC off.
Yikes.
You bet.
Okay. We don't need any more of these.
All right, folks, how we doing this morning? Let me know if you can see and hear me. You can actually listen real quick. Seems okay. We are looking at another live feed from Boca Chica, Texas down there. Barreling down on Boca Chica is now Hurricane, a Category 1 hurricane. Sort of walking the line right there on the line, but the last I heard it was a Category 1 hurricane. We'll see what's going on, but it looks like SpaceX is still going to try to push together a static fire today. Let me have a see real quick. Yeah, SN5 is looking at doing a static fire. So we've got Mary, Boca Chica gal, down there. She is safe in her vehicle. She's on the side of the road at sort of our stakeout location. As you can see, here is again that live feed from Boca Chica. And we are going to see if SpaceX can get some time to get this static fire done. Again, it's SN5, a Starship prototype, and they are trying, our understanding is they're trying to put some fuel, put some oxidizer in there, fill that thing up with methane, and see if they can't get some flamey bits coming out the bottom of it, but we will see. Let me know one more time, are we 5x5? You can hear everything. You should hear some sweet, sweet ambient audio. Ambient audio may be a challenge today if it starts to rain. Always want to make sure that Mary is safe out there. We don't want to put her in any sort of compromising position. We're watching that storm like a hawk. We got the weather radar. We're checking the hurricane center, everything like that. Looks like it's trending north, and she's on the southern side of the storm, but we are going to be watching that, and if we ever see any sort of situation where Mary is not 100% safe, Mary is more important than the live stream. Honestly, we love the live feeds, but we are absolutely, positively going to be monitoring that today as SpaceX, as SpaceX tries to get a static fire in under the wire here before the weather deteriorates too much with that incoming storm. Hey, Joy Watson, here's to a successful static fire. Appreciate the super chat there kicking off the stream. But we will see. Let's pop over here and check the weather radar real quick. It'll come on. There we go. You can see right around Boca Chica, it's the red dot in the middle of the weather radar. There's not a lot of rain in the area right now. This is a little bit zoomed in, so you're not getting a lot of the hurricane banding that's going to be up on the upper right-hand corner of the screen there, but we will continue to monitor that. I get a feeling that if they can do it, SpaceX is going to try to slide this static fire in just underneath the storm. We'll bring down the ambient there a little bit. Again, ambient will be sort of secondary today because we do not want the, ambient will be secondary. If it starts to rain, we're going to make sure that microphone is secured inside the vehicle, and we're not going to be redoing that. So there we go. We've brought that ambient audio down. But again, you can see right now, Boca Chica right in the middle of that weather radar. Not a lot of rain, maybe a little sprinkle here and there, but we'll see. They probably have a couple hours in the window before this actually happens this morning. Robert Hobson, good night, Irene. Starting a fund for the NSF's Storm Chaser vehicle for Mary. $50, Robert. We appreciate you there. Let's go over to the full screen view and see what we can see. Oh, I forgot. Wait, no, hang on. I forgot. We need to hop over here because check this out. Look, back to me. Look familiar? It's like, wait, I gotta line up correctly. It matches, and it cuts my head off because I'm too close to my camera, but I've got my roadside rocket science shirt on here, courtesy of, other arm, NASASpaceflight from the NASASpaceflight store over there. Somebody put a link to that in chat. Y'all don't need to see me anymore. Let's pop back. Oh, wrong one. There we go. Let's pop back over this way. Christian Ollendorf Knudsen, fingers crossed for today. Space is where I go for my good news these days. Christian, thank you so much for the super chat. Rough Rider Show. As always, my back daily super chat goes to the NSF team. Stay safe out there, Mary. Hey, Rough Riders, we appreciate the support. Absolutely, positively, our number one concern is Mary's safety. If anything starts to happen out there, we will make sure that Mary stays safe. I believe I've got another person on here with me. Michael, you read me right now?
Yes, I do, Doss.
All right. In chat, let us know how you can hear Michael over there. He's going to be hanging out here with me for a little bit. Me and Mary. There, his information in the upper right-hand corner of the stream. I think you tweeted out the link to the stream, didn't you, Michael?
Yep, the stream has been pushed on Twitter.
All right, good deal. I'm going to grab that real quick and just make sure that I retweet it so people know what's going on. SN5 static fire. There you go. And if anybody else wants to help us get the word out about the stream, you can also retweet it right there like that. Just go to live chat so I can see everything that goes on. And all right, we should be good.
Yeah,
So Michael, we know
ahead.
that there's weather coming in. How long do you think SpaceX has to get this static fire done? I mean, we've been looking at the weather forecast, and rain is inbound for sure today, it looks like.
Yeah, I'm no meteorologist, but it looked like, at least on the predicted radar, that the heavy rain was going to be coming in a couple hours between 12 and 1 p.m. local time, and from what I understand, the wind is supposed to pick up more in the afternoon, so it definitely looks like a sooner rather than later is the best bet for a static fire today.
Alrighty. Yeah, it really did look like coming up around lunchtime, it's going to get worse and worse and worse as Hanna gets closer and closer to making landfall. I think did we get a landfall estimate there from the National Hurricane Center? Was it 7 p.m. last I saw? Did that get updated? We're looking that up. Again, neither of us are meteorologists, but we do know that we are going to keep an eye on that. I'm not seeing... Last I saw was 7 p.m. Estimated landfall there. So I'll say it, JC Gray. Do you need the flare for the static fire? You know something? We know that SpaceX has upgraded some of the methane recapture, the methane condensation equipment out there. It's our understanding that the flare has to still be online, but it might not be as big as it used to be. The flare is sort of an emergency dump, and if they need to rapidly depressurize some part of the system that contains methane, the only way that I'm aware to safely reduce pressure once it gets to a certain amount is to blow it out that flare and light it on fire. I don't know the capacity of the methane recapture system. Can it completely replace the flare? Is that flare going to be there just in emergency situations and they can route to the flare if they need to? But nominally, it's just going to be in sort of pilot mode, which we really can't usually see during the day. I don't know. I think this is going to be a good guess, a good learning experience for us to watch what that flare does today and see if we get any actual flaring coming from it. Joaquin Volseth, thank you for the 50 NOK. Thanks for the continued great coverage of Starship Super Heavy development. Hey, Joaquin, hope I said your name correctly. We appreciate the support. Thank you so much for that super chat. And then Garadiel, maybe Garadiel there. Thanks for your stream, guys, and especially Mary for providing the live coverage. Hey, we would not have this live feed from Boca Chica, all the cool daily videos that you get with the updates of what happens, like which crane moved which piece of equipment to which location. We would not have that unless Mary, Boca Chica gal, Mary, M-A-R-Y, was out there bringing us these live feeds so we could see what was going on. So put it in chat. Everybody practice with me. Mary, M-A-R-Y. That's how you spell her name. That's the one who's out there doing our live feed and all those fantastic videos that we get every single day. That's what I like to see, Thread Snake. Mr. Nothing. Not quite right there. David, there you go. MLG Mauser. Yes, everybody type that name into chat. You got it spelled correctly. That's what I like to see in the morning. She is amazing, Chris Crow. You're right. Mary's the bestest, Robert. I agree with you there. All right. Good practice. Good practice, chat. Whoa, okay, wait, the super chat just ran by. Mike Jacobs, thanks for the $5. Any speculation at what point lateral winds would compromise an empty SS, an empty Starship? Just remembering Hoppy's nose lost in the storm. I think we all remember when Hoppy's nose cone blew over long ago when it was just like, what, one tent with some people welding in it or outside of it. And then we woke up one morning and the nose cone was not in the nominal upwards pointing position. I think they've come a long way since then. Michael, what do you think about winds out there? We know some information about the tents we were talking about the other day, right?
Yeah, so the tents can apparently withstand a hurricane. As Josh pointed out, though, if a big hurricane came through Boca Chica, storm surge would probably be the primary concern. But I think in terms of an incident where just something blows over in the wind, it's less likely to occur. They were bringing down the large blue crane they have for assembling the high bay this morning. Yesterday evening, they moved the three small nose cones, or the three nose cones without the bottom part, the bottom 5 ring section, into the tents. So they're making
Right.
preparations. I think the Starship SN5 vehicle itself is a pretty sturdy build. It's not like that flimsy nose cone they had last year.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any way the wind is going to blow over that vehicle or anything. I think it's going to be fine.
Good deal. And we know, like you said, they're taking precautions for that. Clearly, there's something that they are thinking of. That's something that they are thinking of out there. What's going on with Bluezilla? That huge crane. There's no way they can leave. I don't know. I'm not a crane PhD, but it doesn't seem like there's any way that you would leave Bluezilla all the way up. Is there some sort of stow mode for that? Do we know?
Yeah, it looked like it was just coming down this morning. The top half was kind of folding down. And I'm not sure what the state is now because we're looking at the static. We're looking at SN5 now. We're not focusing on the production site. I don't know if Mary can see the crane from where she is right now, but they were definitely taking it down. And Rough Riders asked with a super chat, did Mary get a 10-minute notice letter? Yes, she did.
Yes, she did.
Static fire is definitely on the cards for today. Doesn't mean it will happen. There could be an issue. They could scrub for weather. We don't know. But there is certainly a chance that we will see a static fire this morning in Boca Chica.
All right.
And the current status, just to update everyone, is the road has been closed by the sheriff deputies, but we are waiting for the final vehicles to clear the pad. We didn't see the SpaceX fire truck leave, but interestingly enough, the fire truck was not the last vehicle to leave the pad today. There are still a couple of vehicles at the pad, so the next good sign we are hoping to see will be the final vehicles leaving the pad.
Gotcha. And I'm gonna do this again real quick. I am going to bring up that weather radar in a little bit zoomed out mode. Let me see if I can put that in the picture here. Survey says, yeah, there you go. I don't know if I really like that orientation, but there you can see that Hurricane Hanna out there in the Gulf of Mexico. The sort of central bands are just starting to read the coast. It looks like it's going to make landfall a little bit closer to Corpus Christi. Last update I had seen, that's that KCRP up there. My mom lives out there. I hope she's doing well. I called her this morning to make sure she was doing fine before I got on the stream there. But you can really see way down south here out in the Gulf, we have these stronger bands. Over here, the good news about this, I born and bred in Corpus Christi. I got hit by my share of hurricanes. We used to go to the beach when a hurricane was going in. NASASpaceflight, not responsible for you going to the beach in a hurricane. But the good thing here is that it's going north of Brownsville, and because of the way that these storms rotate, you typically get a little bit more of a storm surge and a little bit more rainfall on the northern landfall of the center of it. And if you're south of it, you get a little bit less because the rotation means that it's already sort of dumped its rain, dumped its moisture over the land before it sort of rotates back down to you. So hopefully that's a good sign for Boca Chica. Again, not meteorologists here or anything like that, but just sort of looking at the storm, looking at the status we know, and hoping that we don't get a bunch of storm surge coming in down there, because if Boca Chica got a lot of storm surge, it would definitely affect everyone down there. Primarily, it would affect people that live there, like Mary, but it would also potentially affect some of the equipment and the build areas where they work on. Storm surge is one of the biggest problems with a hurricane whenever you get something like that. So we'll continue to keep an eye on that and just make sure that Mary is 100% safe all the time.
Electric Eric, thank you for the 20 euros. Thanks for the coverage, Mary and NSF. We appreciate the support, Electric Eric. William Strickland, thank you for the membership. Mike Jacobs, any speculation on the point lateral winds would compromise an empty Starship? Just remembering copies. I think you got that one right, Das. The nose question.
Oh, sorry. I was fixing something over here in the back.
Okay, yeah, we got the nose question.
Okay, good.
Christian, 5 euros. Fingers crossed for today. Space is where I go for my good news these days. Yes, that is definitely true. It is nice to watch all this exciting action in Boca Chica, especially when the real news these days is not the most exciting with the current pandemic and whatnot. Joy Watson, $2. Thanks to here's a successful static fire. Thank you, Joy. And finally, Dougal, awesome shirt. I'll be ordering one. Thank you, Dougal.
Nice, thanks, Dougal. I like it. I actually have 2 copies of the short. I figured there's so many Starship streams that we do. I better have 2 of them because you know, I just need 2. Let's put it that way. I'm not going to make commentary on how often I do laundry. So, again, y'all, as we sort of hang out here, we're going to be answering questions live. If you have a question for us, tag us in chat at NASASpaceflight, and those will go into a queue. And as we sort of get in between things, we will answer questions. That's one of the things we do. We're not the whole silent, pensive, no commentary streams. Sometimes people comment on the YouTube videos like, I wish they would just shut up. But it's kind of our deal. Like, we're here so that we can answer questions. We're here so that we can talk with you. If you want a silent feed of what's going on, there's a mute button, right? I don't say that too terribly jokingly. It is our thing to be interactive and to actually answer questions and to be a resource you can come to if you have questions. You want to gain a little bit better understanding. You want to ask some questions about what's going on out there. That's one of the things we do. That's why we're here. So, anywho. I'm going to scroll through and grab some questions. Threadsnake, we were talking about Bluezilla. It's our understanding last we saw that Bluezilla was sort of being stowed for the storm. It seems like high winds would definitely be something Bluezilla would need to look out for. Michael, did you send a text to Mary concerning the status of Bluezilla?
No, I will do that right now.
All right, cool. We'll check in with Mary over there and see what we can get in terms of a status of Bluezilla. Let's see here. Griswick, do you think Starship will be operational in 3 years? Honestly, there's probably an argument that Starship is sort of working towards being operational right now. You probably mean, is it going to be carrying useful cargo to orbit in 3 years? I hope so. I hope so. I mean, we've got Super Heavy coming up, but Super Heavy is like just a bigger tank that has more engines on the bottom, so they know how to do engines, and they're working on how to weld tanks. All the ground service equipment, filling operations, how you put fuel in it, how you take fuel out, the static fire, all those things. There certainly are a lot of gates we're going to have to go through before we get an operational. So not just, wow, it made it to orbit, but also it carried some useful payload to orbit, like a stack of Starlink satellites or something. 3 years, I do hope that it is operational in 3 years. Michael, any comment on the schedule for Starship?
I mean, it's really hard to say. There's so many variables at play, but I think it's going to be longer than the timelines that SpaceX put out. I don't mean to be negative, but that's usually how it goes. So don't have your hopes up expecting, normal flight next year, I would say. I know some people are hoping for that, but it's going to take time. And, just between Starhopper's 150-meter hop and the Starship 150-meter hop, we're now looking at about a year. So they're certainly making a lot of progress in terms of building up the production facility. And, the vehicles are quickly progressing. But even super quick progress in spaceflight terms usually means a couple of years. So I think it'll still be a few more years before it's operational. Is it 3 years? Is it 2 years? Is it 4 years? It's hard to say, but I would probably lean towards the longer end of that 3-year estimate, maybe 4 years. I don't know. It's hard to say.
Yeah, gotcha. There was one I can handle real quick. What's the approximate time of firing? The window goes from 8 a.m. local time, so we're about an hour and 10 minutes into the window, all the way until 8 p.m. local time. Now, that's the official road closure notification, right? We have a feeling, pretty strong indication that Hurricane Hanna is going to sort of limit the amount of time that they can actually use in that window. But as always with these tests, we don't have a specific time that it's going to happen. That's why it's roadside rocket science. We just sort of hang out and watch what's happening.
Yeah, we do expect it to take about 50 to 60 minutes from when they start the fueling to get to the static fire fog as well. But it is really hard to tell when exactly they start fueling or propellant loading, because I don't know if the venting we see is immediately when they start propellant loading or if that happens like 5 minutes after they start. So it's really hard to get an exact estimate as to when they're going to static fire. Then there can also be built-in holds in the countdown that we don't know about. So it's impossible to estimate precisely, but if you want a rough estimate, 50 to 60 minutes after propellant loading begins, and we see vehicles returning to the pad. I'm going to hide the ticker, so that's not a great sign.
Yeah. Hey, I'm going to address this real quick, just really quickly. Maris, welcome to the live stream. You're saying that it's sort of annoying when you say we'll keep Mary safe. What we're saying there is that we are never going to expect Mary to stay out in unsafe conditions. So if it's lightning, if the storm is coming through, if a hurricane's hitting, Mary is more important than the live video feed, and we will make sure we'll pack these, throw the cameras out the window. We don't care. That's what we mean when we say that. I know you were sort of being sort of a little bit rude there, honestly, but that's what we mean. We take it really seriously. There's a hurricane barreling down on the Texas coast right now. There's a live feed. We're not going to act like that's not something that we're watching. So, hey, I appreciate you hanging out. I mean, I do appreciate you being here, but it is something that we do take very seriously. All right. Did we get that super chat? The super chat is from 5, and then it's 5 curly L's, 5 pounds there, and the message just says 5. Like they're trying to break the overlay. Seems like a commercial about sandwiches or something like that. So, anyways, keep the questions coming, y'all. We will keep on grabbing them out of chat and answering what's going on here.
Why would?
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Josh.
I was just grabbing one here about why would some weather interrupt a static fire? Michael, you want to take that one?
Yeah, good question. It wouldn't be, I don't think it's too much of concern for the test itself. It would more be if there's, reasons to be concerned about the pad getting flooded because of the hurricane or other damage to Boca Chica, because the teams may want to focus on the safe thing instead of worrying about a static fire right now. And there could also be safety reasons with, having the team out there, monitoring it from the production site and having to go to the pad to save things afterwards. The pad needs to be saved afterwards. So if they are not safely able to return to the pad anytime soon, that could be a problem. So,
yep.
And we saw crews out there this morning getting the vehicle ready. So if they can't do this pre and post test operations safely with the crew out there, that can be a problem that can affect static fire. But I think in terms of the static fire itself, it's probably not too big of a concern because the vehicle is not going to move.
Yep, absolutely. And we just did see a vehicle going in the wrong direction there. A vehicle going towards the left-hand side of the screen, returning up the road towards the pad. As always, we don't know exactly what their plan is. We don't start the stream until we got a pretty good indication they're going to move forward. I don't believe we've seen any venting from the grassy area yet, have we, Michael?
We have a problem. The road is open.
The road is open.
What we saw were the 2 sheriff deputies. That's why we saw the flashing lights in those cars. But that does not look good for a static fire today, folks.
Yeah. There's nobody left at the checkpoint is the information we have there.
That Mary just sent us, yeah. So we might be looking at a scrub. I mean, the window is still open for 11 or 10 hours and 45 minutes, but
right.
With the hurricane only expecting things to get worse in terms of weather, this does not look too promising.
Yep. Wow. Well, Michael, I am going to have to step away for just a little bit here. Can you hold down the fort?
Yes, I will log in and get set up.
Okay, and
copy. Cool. Okay. Okay. So if you're just joining us, it looked like we had the road reopen, which is not a good sign. I'm waiting just a few minutes to see what's going to happen, but all indications so far are that we are not going to see a test today. If it continues to look like that over the next 2 minutes, we will probably be ending the stream, as I want Mary to be able to go home, given that the storm is currently headed her way. So there's no reason for Mary to be out there, obviously, if it does not look like a test is going to occur. So we're going to keep an eye on things, but the current indication is that testing has been scrubbed for today. And we are seeing another vehicle returning to the pad on your screen right now. And I'm just communicating with Mary, and we're going to decide what we're going to do here in terms of our stream. But again, the road just reopened, so if they were going to static fire, we would have expected the road to stay closed. Okay, and to confirm, we are going to end our stream now. If there is another road closure at a later point today, and it is safe for Mary to go back out there, we will of course go live again. But with the weather only forecasted to get worse from here on out for the rest of today, it looks highly unlikely that we will see a static fire at this time. So the next road closure is scheduled for tomorrow. So if there is another attempt then, that will be the next time we plan to go live. So stay tuned, turn on notifications on the channel, and when we go live, you will get notification for the static fire test. So until then, thank you all for joining us. We will see you next time.
We have liftoff. Propulsion continues to be normal.
The chamber pressure looks good. Doubling up. Roger, roll, Atlantic.
Water towers, fly!
Sliding down side speed off.
Yikes. You bet. Concur. We don't need any more.
Okay, so welcome back everyone. We are staying live for another minute or so because SpaceX security just vehicles back up to the checkpoint, according to Mary. So we're going to see what the sheriff, if the sheriff returns, but SpaceX security is back at the checkpoint. Is that correct, Mary?
Yes,
Okay.
but looks like he might be leaving. I don't know. Or maybe
Okay.
just pulling over. Let me just... Yeah, he's just repositioning.
Yes, if you're just joining us in chat, the road opened. We were going to end the live stream, but the SpaceX security vehicle returned to the checkpoint. So we decided to stay live a few more minutes on Mary's device, just to make sure that this testing is actually done for today. And it looks like the road is closed now, Mary. Is that right? I see like the vehicles are parked in the road, I think. That's what somebody's telling me in chat. Don't know if we have audio with Mary right now, but it looks like the road might be closed again.
Yeah, there's another pickup there.
Okay, well this is interesting.
Right.
Very good call, Mary, to stay alive.
Yeah. Might as well see what's going to happen. It'd be nice to get the static fire done.
Yeah. Okay, so the road is certainly closed again. We are going to stay live. So if you didn't leave the stream, great job. I know we said we were going to end, but just as we started playing the intro video, Mary came on and told me that there was a vehicle back at the security checkpoint. So I don't know what happened and why the two sheriff deputies took off towards the pad. They were chasing a pickup truck. I don't know what was going on. I had presumed at first there was a SpaceXer, but perhaps they had some issue that they had to go take care of. I don't know exactly what happened there, but other deputies, a different sheriff deputy and the SpaceX security are now blocking the road to the checkpoint. So it looks like there's still a chance. Sorry, I'm not commentating nonstop right now. We are chatting in our back channels, trying to figure out what's going on, but interesting morning here. Thank you to Sandy Nickel. Your work is appreciated. We appreciate the $5 super chat. And Timo, new member. Thank you so much, Timo. Yeah, we're not ending it right now. Don't worry, chat. We're only going to end it if the road closes again, or the road opens again, excuse me, and there's absolutely no sign of a test today. Or either that, or the weather gets unsafe for Mary to be out there. But as of now, as you can see on our picture, the weather is not too bad right now. We still have a couple of hours until the storm is supposed to really start to pick up. So hopefully SpaceX will be able to get the static fire done between now and the storm coming in. Harry Young, thank you for the €5. Uncancellation, or yeah, €5. Uncancellations are always fun. Thank you so much, Harry. Harry's a big supporter of the stream, and I certainly agree. So just to remind everyone, this is the first static fire attempt with Starship SN5 that we're expecting today. It will use Raptor SN27, which is the most the furthest along Raptor to be tested in Boca Chica. So presumably, this Raptor should be a lot more reliable than the previous Raptors that have been down here. So definitely exciting to see a, really refined Raptor design start to take place. The Raptor engines have, from what I understand, been doing really well in the recent testing in McGregor, Texas, the SpaceX test facility. So I think the odds of this round of testing having any Raptor issues are a lot slimmer than before. If you remember on Starhopper's 150-meter test flight, the Raptor engine sort of started to fail right at the end of that hop, and Starhopper kind of had a hard landing, but it survived. However, I think with the Starship SN5 upcoming static fire today and the hop hopefully early next week, the Raptor engine is definitely one of the lower risk items. It doesn't mean there's not a chance that it could have an issue. It's still an early engine in development, but I think the biggest risks for today's test and the upcoming hop are going to be a ground support equipment malfunction or the Starship vehicle structure itself, or some other component on the vehicle like the landing legs or the RCS thrusters having issues. I think the Raptor, from what I understand, is one of the lower risk items compared to everything else. Raptor has really been doing really well on the test stand and recent testing, but that being said, again, test stand is not quite the same as an actual flight. So there's still some risk, but in terms of the entire test campaign, this Raptor engine is they have SpaceX a lot of confidence in it, from my understanding. So that's pretty exciting, especially because this is such an advanced engine. It's the first ever full flow stage combustion cycle methane engine to perform a flight. That was the first that was set by Starhopper. So exciting times in Boca Chica, and hopefully we'll get to hear that Raptor roar today. We have Mary's ambient audio set up, so when Starship ignites that Raptor engine, we're hopefully going to get some great audio of it today. It's a super unique sound. It sounds a lot different than a Merlin engine. So I'm looking forward to that for sure. So if you can hear those construction sounds on our ambient audio right now, Mary says they poured concrete under the fin display. That's the Mark 1 fins that are being set up as a possibly a shade structure at the new SpaceX restaurant that they're building, which is right across the street from where Mary is, and they are scoring the concrete. So that's what we are hearing right now. And Ross is saying in our back channel, it looks like a snack shade area for the food trucks. I think that's probably what that shade structure is for. You might put some like picnic tables under it or something. But the sound you're hearing are the construction sounds of Boca Chica. And if it becomes annoying, let us know in chat. We can always turn down the ambient audio. But when the static fire happens, of course, we'll be turning it up high because we want to hear the raptor. Just taking a peek at the weather radar. As you can see on the top left of your screen, it looks like still only light rain moving through the area. Right now, no rain over Boca Chica itself. But there's outer bands of Hurricane Hanna currently passing through the area, and hopefully they'll be able to get the static fire done before the stronger bands are forecasted to hit in a couple of hours' time. It sounds like later this afternoon is when the worst of the storm, maybe into this evening, is when the worst of the storm is going to hit Boca Chica. So still some time to get the static fire done. Fingers crossed we're going to see some action today. If the static fire occurs today and there's no significant hurricane or storm damage, the earliest the hop could occur would be a minimum of 2 full days between now and the static fire. So that would, if the static fire happened today, that means the earliest the hop could occur would be Tuesday. But, of course, the way testing goes, it'll probably be longer than that. Especially with the hurricane, there might be some damage to repair at the pad if they have any flooding or anything. But a minimum of 2 full days between the static fire and the hop is what we expect. Nathan, thank you for the $10. Really appreciate it. And again, if you have any questions in the chat, just tag out NASASpaceflight and we'll work our way through the queue. Dougal's asking any interesting developments in the Super Heavy launch pad. Not anything too noteworthy right now. I think they're mostly just working through building a foundation. Foundation work always takes a long time in construction, it seems, especially when they have to pile down as far as they did. We saw them installing huge pilings into the ground because Boca Chica is sort of in a swampy area, so they presumably had to pile a long way down to reach some solid bedrock to build their foundation on top of. But hopefully in the next couple of months, we'll start to see some vertical structure going up in a super heavy pad. Blake's asking, what signs are you looking for to know when the pad is clear? The road runs right in front of the camera right now, so when the pad clears, we will see the vehicles driving across your screen. And it is sometimes a bit hard to know when the last vehicle has left the pad, but we can tell when vehicles leave pretty easily because the road runs right in front of us. It's just a matter of knowing which vehicle is the final vehicle is usually the challenge. In the past tests, the fire truck is usually a good sign, or the SpaceX security vehicle with flashing lights. Those are usually the last vehicles to leave the pad. But we already saw those vehicles leave the pad, so I'm not sure what we're going to see as the last vehicle today. There might still be a security vehicle, but the primary SpaceX vehicle and the fire truck both left the pad earlier today, so we're gonna have to wait and see, but it is often a guess knowing when the pad is clear. Greg's asking, any thoughts on when the black canisters and the composite overhead pressure vessels that you see on the vehicle will be moved inside? So it definitely makes sense that they won't want those exposed during, orbital flights or anything like that. So I assume probably in the next couple of Starship prototypes, we'll see those moved inside as they go towards those higher altitude tests that will need better aerodynamics. But it might be possible, like those black canisters on the right hand and left hand side of the vehicles, maybe they will be protected by the fins in some way. So if like the fins on the outside kind of go where those are now, that could be maybe the black canisters or the COPVs, as they're formerly called, will stay there and they'll just be protected by the fins. I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see. And Andy's saying final Starship will have autogenous pressurization, so should not need COPVs. That is true. They won't need COPVs to pressurize the vehicle, but I'm not sure at what point they will no longer need COPVs to power the RCS thrusters. They are going to eventually move to a Methalox system, which may not need COPVs. I haven't seen the exact technical details of how the Methalox thruster system will work, but for now, while they're using the nitrogen-cooled gas thrusters, it will definitely still need COPVs for the RCS thrusters, at least for the time being. Our prop loading duration we expect is between 50 to 60 minutes from when prop loading starts to when static fire occurs. If you're asking in chat, no, the road is closed. We thought they'd open a road because the sheriff deputies left the pad, but then we saw a different sheriff deputy return to the pad. So the road is definitely closed, and we're actually seeing another sheriff leaving the pad area right now. I will hide that ticker in case we see any more cars drive by. But it does look like testing is still on. We had thought they were about to cancel, so we stopped the stream. We were about to stop the stream, and then Mary said, "Wait, there's another security vehicle arriving at the checkpoint." So the road has been closed once again. Hunter, thank you for the super chat. We appreciate it. Is Starship on Allowed being used for any purpose, or is it just for looks now? I think you're referring to Starhopper. Oh, yes, you are referring to Starhopper. I read your message wrong. Sorry. Starhopper is actually being used for a purpose. As you see on the very top of it, there is a spinning radar. That's the Garmin radar. They use it to look for boats and make sure that the range is clear for safety purposes. There are also some cameras on Starhopper that are pointed at Starship. So they have some PTZ cameras that they use to monitor the test of Starhopper. There might also be some other sensors on Starhopper that are getting data about the test. So yeah, Starhopper is certainly being used for something. James Doss had to go for a bit. He might be back later. I think Jack is not available today, and the Chris's will be on NSF Live later this afternoon. That's our weekly live show at 5 p.m. Eastern on Saturdays. So both the Chris's will be on the show then. I'm not sure if any of them are going to be joining later today on the Starship stream. James is asking by the end of 2020 how far I think Starship will have progressed. It's really hard to say. Maybe I think maybe through. I think we'll definitely do a 3 kilometer hop by the end of 2020. Anything beyond that, I think it's probably unlikely. I think we'll see a couple more months between now and the next hop. It will take some. This is assuming SN5 hops successfully, of course. It will take some time to move on to a vehicle with a nose cone and the aero surfaces necessary for higher altitude flight. So I think maybe a 3 kilometer hop, 20 kilometer hop, best case I think. And we did see that another vehicle just leave the pad right now, so that's another good sign. Let's see. Again, if you have questions, just tag NASASpaceflight in chat. I'm reading through a queue right now that filters out the questions. David, yes, we thought the road was closed. We were ending the stream, and then Mary came on at the last minute and saved us because she noticed that another vehicle had pulled up to the checkpoint after the checkpoint had been totally abandoned. So the checkpoint is now back in action. So still a chance. PJ White, the green or yellow symbols are channel members. Those are people who help support the stream on a monthly basis. So they have a special, I guess I forget what it's called, but they have a special icon next to their name. If you're interested in becoming a channel member, there's a join button below the stream. If you click that button, there'll be details on the perks that the channel members get as we see another sheriff deputy head away from the pad. So still looking good for a static fire as of now. Just waiting for pad clear to be. I mean, we're never going to see pad clear officially confirmed, but we're hoping to see no more signs of vehicles at the pad, and then We will progress to the pad clear status on our timeline. That is the next milestone we're waiting to see happen. A badge. Thank you, DOS. I guess DOS is still here. In the background, at least. And Mary reports that sheriff deputy that we just saw drive by pulled up to the SpaceX emergency services building, so lots of teams working this road closure today. SpaceX partners with the local sheriff's department in the Cameron County area to help secure the hazard zones for the test. So the sheriff, before the road closure happens, the sheriff deputies will drive down Highway 4 past launch pad to the local beach, and they will go up and down the beach and make sure the beach is clear from any locals so that everybody's safe when the testing does occur. Tim is asking, do you know where they control the static fires from and give the go and no-go for tanking? I believe it's controlled from the Stargate facility at the Boca Chica production site. I'm sure there are also teams monitoring the tests from remotely from Hawthorne and possibly McGregor. But the primary control facility from Boca Chica is Stargate. And according to chat, it sounds like you think there's about 1 or 2 vehicles left, so we're getting close, just waiting to see those final vehicles leave the pad. Jade saying if they look closely at the super chat that you can see a tiny flame. I think I see that too. It looks like the flare stack is in pilot mode. We expected that to be the case. They have to have the flare stack on standby in case they have to use it, but they do have the methane recondensing system in place now. So we're not sure if we're going to see much flare stack action today. We do expect most of the work to be done by the methane recondensing system to process that methane, which has boiled off. David's asking, do you know what the new pipe is on the yellow generator? No, I'm not sure, but they were definitely working on the yellow generator a lot over the past couple of hours or a couple of days. We did see we saw some smoke coming from the generator, which I think is actually a water pump for the 3 water tanks. You can see on just to the left of the yellow object, which is what we're talking about right now at the bottom of your screen. The water pump seemed to be smoking a bit during the last tanking test we saw on, what was it, Thursday now. So I'm not sure if that was not supposed to happen, but they definitely were working on the water pump for several hours over the past day or two. So I'm not sure what the modifications they made before, but I think that's the water pump that powers the water deluge system that they will turn on just before the static fire happens. So keep an eye out for the water hoses turning on at the base of the pad. Right before the static fire, we will likely see some water being sprayed to help suppress the sound from the Raptor engine. Uh, 1000 Dots is asking, what are the dimensions of the vehicle? The Starship is a 9-meter diameter vehicle. The total height of a production Starship vehicle will be 50 meters tall, but what you're seeing right now, Starship SN5 only has the tank section. It does not have the fairing or the nose cone on top of it. So that the nose cone is about approximately half of the vehicle's height. I'm not sure what the precise height of the tank section is compared to the nose cone, but probably approximately 25 to 30 meters would be what I estimate for the height of Starship SN5. And it is quite amazing to think about that what you're looking at right now is only about half of the size of the full Starship vehicle, but the Starship itself is not even half the size of the entire Super Heavy Starship stack. The Super Heavy first stage is significantly taller than a Starship, so the entire stack height would be 120 meters, which is just incredible to think about how large of a vehicle it's going to be when you have an orbital Starship Super Heavy stack launching. That is going to be a sight to see for sure. Just remind everyone what we're expecting in terms. Ooh, never mind. Look at that. A vehicle heading to the pad. So that's not a great sign. But we will continue to wait as long as the checkpoint is closed. Mary says SpaceX security is heading to the pad. Checkpoint opened again, so security has left the checkpoint once again. That's not a good sign, but that's what Mary is reporting. We'll stay live a little bit longer just to see what happens. Again, last time we already thought they were done testing earlier today, and then the checkpoint closed again. So we'll stay live a little bit longer and make sure we know what's happening. So just stay tuned. But the report from Mary is that the checkpoint is open again and security are heading back to the pad. if you look at the very bottom of your screen, sort of on the right-hand side, I think you can see waves occasionally splashing in the background. I keep seeing some stuff spraying in the background. I'm assuming that's what that is, as the choppy waters in the ocean are coming in from that hurricane that's just offshore right now. But just to remind everyone, there is a hurricane north of Boca Chica right now, so those outer bands are coming in right now, and if the teams take a bit longer and it slips into the window more and more, the conditions are only expected to deteriorate today, so the sooner the static fire happens, the better right now. The worst of the storm is supposed to hit Boca Chica later this afternoon and into the evening, so they have a window that lasts until 8 p.m., but I'm not sure the weather would cooperate to support testing later in today's window. What are the different tanks that we can see? Why are some vertical and some horizontal? I'm not quite sure why some tanks are at different orientations, but the three black tanks you see in the center, a little bit to the left, and the bottom of the screen, those are water tanks, so those store the water for the water suppression system, or the water deluge system. It's also the sound suppression system. Two different names for that. And then to the left of those tanks, you see those two long white horizontal tanks. I believe those are the methane and liquid oxygen tanks. And then those black tanks in the back, I believe, are nitrogen and possibly also some liquid oxygen. But I'm not quite sure exactly what each individual tank on that back row is for. Let me check if they can. Yes, you are muted on the server, correct. Okay. Yep. So it sounds like everyone DOS is reconnecting, so we're going to have another commentator on the stream shortly. Nathan, yes, you can get a reply. There you go.
All right, stream should be able to hear me. Michael, since you're in the control seat, can you check my audio for me?
Yes, you have good audio, DOS.
All right. Yo, I'm back. I have returned. Just had to run a quick errand with the family real quick. What happened? Did I miss anything important?
Right after you left, well, right as you were leaving, the two sheriff deputies at the checkpoint left to go towards the pad. So the checkpoint was basically wide open and anyone could drive through. So we thought testing was over for today. So I wrapped up the stream, I started playing the outro video, and then while the outro video is playing, Mary comes on comms and says, "Wait, the SpaceX security vehicle has returned to the checkpoint." So I stopped playing the outro video and we came back live. And shortly after, the a different deputy returned to the checkpoint and they closed the road again. And now it appears, once again, the road has reopened. So we're being a bit more cautious this time to wrap up the stream based on what happened last time. But it does look like, at least right now, testing is not imminent.
Yeah.
And of course, if the weather continues to get worse, Mary may have to go home.
Yeah.
But
No
we'll see
venting
what
from the
happens.
grass or anything like that right now?
Nope, no venting or anything.
Gotcha. Jeez. Well, we sort of knew what we were getting ourselves into with the approaching storm and stuff like that. So we'll see. We haven't seen anybody actually at the pad. We haven't seen people walking around or anything, right?
No, and I haven't even seen like vehicles driving around the answer pad itself. What Mary's seen, what Chad have been telling me, it sounds like the vehicles are actually just like sort of outside the pad gate, just sitting there. So I'm not really sure what's going on. They,
Interesting.
they might just be, they might just be watching the weather or something. I'm not really sure. But again, if they are going to static fire today, based on weather, it does look like sooner rather than later is better. So unless there's an issue at some point, it's kind of weird for them to just be, waiting around, not doing anything.
Yeah, I'm gonna go and check the weather update here real quick. Let's have a
I'll
look.
turn the radar on too.
Yeah.
Looks
Go
like
to the side by side radar. Go to the side by side if you could.
yeah.
I sort of have a lot of that covered up there. Yeah, you can see those bands of rain starting to move down, but they're just sort of grazing Boca Chica proper. The little red dot in the middle of the weather radar is basically the test pad. And so, yeah, those rains are coming, but they're almost sort of sweeping out to sea right before they get to Boca Chica. So I imagine they're watching that weather and seeing what's going to happen. But the more time that passes, the more rain there's going to be, the more that storm is actually going to get closer to shore. So
Yep.
yeah, they still have it making landfall a little bit south of Corpus Christi, Texas. Approximate time is about 7 p.m. this evening, and it's currently 10 a.m. So you're looking at about 9 hours before the storm makes landfall. But it's a hurricane. It's a hurricane proper. They've maxed out the wind extent, it looks like, and it looks like the wind is already starting to hit the coast, not quite down to Boca Chica yet. But that's definitely going to have an impact on them.
For sure. And just a reminder, I will quickly show this. Road closures are in effect, or at least scheduled for tomorrow and Monday as well. So there is still, if static fire does not happen today, they could attempt a static fire as early as tomorrow. All windows for the next 2 days are from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. local time. So 12-hour testing windows in Boca Chica.
Yep, and we do know that they got that warning, that 10-minute police siren warning, et cetera, et cetera. There may be an event, there may be a danger to the homes, get out of the house 10 minutes in advance. I mean, if it's pouring down rain, I honestly don't know how that would work with the residents of Boca Chica. There's not a lot of them. Mary's one of the last people that actually lives there, besides SpaceX employees and that sort of thing. But if the residents are supposed to go out of their home during the test after the 10-minute siren, I don't know how they could do the test in the rain.
That's a really good
I
point.
haven't really thought of that, but what do you think?
Yeah, I didn't think of that either. Somebody asked earlier, we were answering that question about how would weather like this affect a static fire if Starship does not have to move. But if you're asking if you have told local residents they have to move outside of their homes during a hurricane, I'm not sure they can do that. So,
Yeah, and it's like, it's recommended you exit your building because an overpressure event may cause damage, like windows breaking inwards, and they don't want you sitting in your living room being showered with glass. Not because you got hit by a piece of the rocket or anything like that, but just because there's a pressure wave, right? Like we saw whenever we get a pop, we see that pressure sort of wave, the wave of force resonate out from the explosion. If that hits your windows and it's big enough, it can just break your windows. And if you're in the house and the pressure hits it from the outside, it could shatter the windows in at you. So I think the primary thing with those warnings is they don't want you to be inside the house in case the windows get wrecked, basically. But if it's raining outside, storming, high winds, that sort of stuff, that's a big deal. Mary Bob Sampson still lives right there at Boca Chica. She is one of the only residents who's still there, who still actually lives there. There are a bunch of people who sold out. A while back, SpaceX did the whole thing where they offered some amount of money to sell your house and get out of Dodge. But Mary proper still lives there in Boca Chica. So that's why we get this awesome coverage as opposed to other people who have to commute back and forth every day. Mary's just there. She's always there.
Yep.
And we're gonna circle back over here in our back channel, y'all, and just see what the status is, see what Mary is seeing. We see vehicles, like the worms go in, the worms go out sort of deal here. But let's see what Mary's feeling is on the current situation out there at Boca Chica.
Yeah, Mary is the one to know.
Yep.
Last time I thought for sure it was over, and Mary said no, and she was right. The road closed like 30 seconds after she said that. So. Mary says end the stream. No vehicles at checkpoint, and the porta potty sucker just headed to the pad. So the porta potty sucker going to the pad means that they are not static firing anytime soon, because that is likely not a SpaceX personnel. That's probably a contractor or something, if I had to guess. And there it is, right there.
It's on the screen.
So. Yeah, they wouldn't be sending that to the pad if they were going to static fire anytime soon.
Maybe they're just getting some extra methane for the tanking procedures. I don't know. I'm kidding. Porta potty joke.
Yep. So with that, I think we're going to wind down the stream today. Thank you all for joining. Reminder, the next test window is tomorrow. So if the storm does not cause any significant damage to the infrastructure, hopefully they will be able to static fire tomorrow instead. If not, Monday would be the next opportunity after that. Any final words, Doss?
Well, remember, we're going to continue monitoring this situation. We're going to keep watching what's going on out there, the weather. If we start to see a bunch of venting or we start to see a bunch of frost, we will certainly, if it's safe for Mary to get out there, we'll certainly look at going back live. But we don't want to sit here for 8 hours while the porta potty truck empties they're called skiddo cans where I'm from. Down there in Texas, it was called a skiddo can. I don't know what they're called where you're from, but we will go ahead and shut it down. Michael, can you switch back to the host camera real quick? I want to show off my t-shirt one more time.
Yeah.
Yes, I have my roadside rocket science t-shirt on. It matches the scene, and I got to sort of lean back so you can see it, but it matches the scene in the background. Again, y'all, thank you so much for joining us. We'll keep watching what's going on, and if we see some sort of imminent test and we're able to do so, we will see what we can do to go live. But it looks like for now, nothing imminently going on. If you want to grab one of these shirts, there's a link to the store. Somebody put a link to the store in chat over there. I'm pointing at chat over there. But Michael, thank you so much for holding it down while we were sort of seeing what was going on there. I'm John Galloway. I was sort of in and out today. And then, as always, Mary, put it in chat, Mary, Boca Chica gal out there in her vehicle bringing us these live feeds, the live camera feed that you can see over there. There's Mary's information up at the top of the screen. See, it's Hopper right there. Like that. That's Mary at Boca Chica gal on Twitter. But again, stay tuned. When the channel goes live, you know how to find it. Click the bell. Make sure you turn on all the notifications. That'll get you information whenever a new video goes up, like the video that we released last night showing what's going on at Boca Chica as they batten down for the storm. What was that?
Garbage truck.
Oh, a garbage truck is going as well. You can see the garbage truck going too. That's a pretty clear indication, no static fire imminent there. So we will go ahead and shut the stream down. As always, we appreciate y'all hanging out. Thank you so much for the support. Thanks for all the super chats and stuff like that. The good news is that we didn't miss anything. We don't want to miss a static fire for sure, but we'll continue to monitor the situation, and we will let you know if we can bring a live stream of any static fire that happens today. But for now, NASA Spaceflight signing off. Michael, did I miss anything?
I think that's it.
All right, cool. Well, let's go ahead and roll the outro.
Pressure looks good. Calling up. Roger, roll, Atlanta. Water towers, fly! Flight outside, FD off.
Yikes. You bet. Concur. We don't need any more of these.